Greetings, Holy One. It is interesting to mention, to make notice, to notice that within the popular mind, within the vast collective of people's ideas of spirituality, that they, by and large, still resonate with seeing white-skinned, blonde-haired angels whipping darker-skinned, black-haired evil angels. And that resonates with many people at a certain level. Not to say that there's anything racist involved in that, but it's just the ideas of that are so deeply ingrained with the ideas of good and evil. And this external understanding, this profane understanding, popular understanding, a deeper understanding, and an understanding that I've tried to remain faithful to and share with people is the esoteric meaning of these symbols, these stories, these books, the Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth, the deeper, more personal meaning, where we take responsibility for our own quality of consciousness. And I do believe that many people are experiencing that call. They're hearing that trumpet, which is the call to consciousness. And this isn't just some sort of symbol of resurrection. This is a resurrection that is taking place within each person who is hearing this call, this sound of trumpet, this judgment. And it is not some external God sitting in a throne, white-skinned God with a beard, white robe that is judging. It is each person and their own source connected awareness. That judgment is internal. And yes, there are some external aspects, but not in the way people think. This is more about self-assessment mirroring cosmic laws. The external aspect is that there are universal cosmic laws. Some people know them as the eight principles, eight eight hermetic principles that can be found in the Kabbalion and other such esoteric works. And if you know how to read the New Testament, better yet, if you're familiar with the Nag Hammadi, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and can get some of the scrolls and the books about the Gospel of Thomas and those type of sayings and teachings from the Essenes, then you will begin to take a sense of this eternal cosmic law, universal laws, and how they resonate with the establishment of your own kingdom within, the kingdom of heaven within, which this call is continuous. We're hearing it. People are at different levels, and people at different levels are still kind of figuring out how to see through the illusions of their ego and realize that everything is energy, and that every time you engage in debate or argument with another person, it's all illusion because you are ultimately the one who depletes your own energy through this. But this call, this sound of these trumpets is guiding each of us always, eternally guiding toward the next stage of spiritual evolution. And we have people at different stages. And that's the beauty and that is the potency of this path. There are those who have realized that sacrifice and service are necessary for illumination, that sovereignty and nobility of the soul emerge when attachment to self is relinquished, when you see through your own ego illusions. The ultimate goal is the return to the ultimate God force, free of limitation, karma, and duality. This path that many are experiencing and Some people are experiencing judgment. If they haven't figured out things in the 3D realm, they're perhaps dealing with judgment in a criminal sense. But there is an ultimate judgment. This path of judgment ultimately is your own higher self judging your awareness in the lower dimensions. And this path of judgment, though, is less about punishment or reward and more about awakening, alignment, and return to the source. Every stage from your mundane choices to cosmic surrender is guided by the clarion notes of the silver trumpet. Now, silver trumpet. Yes, it's very exciting to get involved in biblical terminology. It's very exciting. A lot of people perhaps have never experienced the Bible, or if they have experienced it, they've experienced it through overzealous representatives of organized religion, and hasn't quite settled well with them because they've experienced the darkness that is organized religion, and they have experienced the confusion that is the external savior program of people looking outside of themselves, being led on a path that is not their own authentic path. But this trumpet is a symbol. This trumpet is a universal call, and many are hearing it. The trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised. And this has a deeper esoteric meaning. Sound, the silver trumpet, even in the valley of the dry bones, many people who are lost, the land of the seven wells, who are thirsty, who have not drank, who have not had their thirst slaked from the wells of their own soul. But this is the awakening of the soul, the summons to higher consciousness, a higher path, the path of the lion, walking through this desert of materiality and immorality. This is the pivot, the moment of spiritual reckoning for many people, and they're feeling it. They're hearing the sound. But this judgment, or rather an assessment, is an assessment of your own quantum higher self, your own future self living in perfection, yes, and even in the heavenly dimensions, giving you feedback, frequencies. You're hearing ringings in your ears at various stages of evolution. The soul reaches climactic moments where it can assess its progress. This judgment manifests in reviewing an entire life or series of lives, evaluating intense transient experiences. And the key to all of this is a balanced, mature discernment of your experiences that prepares your soul for the next stage of evolution, which is a call to higher work. This trumpet signals the soul to abandon familiar or comfortable endeavors. It may appear as sudden, intense revelations, similar to how St. Paul experienced this on the road to Damascus, or it could be subtle, persistent dissatisfaction that grows until action is unavoidable. The call demands transformation, not mere change of circumstance, but a resurrection of consciousness, phoenix-like, rising from the ashes of your old ways, leaving the valley of dry bones and stepping into the path of the Spirit, which is a continuous process of the call of your higher God self. The God force bringing you, the God force, this call operates on all levels. That's your physical, dissatisfaction with material possessions or mundane achievements. Emotional, which is an initial exploration of feelings and relationships, leaves the soul wanting more. Or mental, the seeker explores philosophy, mathematics, science, and art, yet still feels a compelling restlessness. These are just merely aspects, dimensions of your existence, physical, emotional, mental. But where is the spiritual, the call of the soul? It is inescapable. The soul is drawn onward to spiritual realization, regardless of resistance. That is why we're here, to touch spirit, to touch eternal source, which will require at times isolation and sacrifice. True illumination often requires retreat and reflection, monastic life, caves or secluded contemplation enable deep learning. Sacrifice of self and ego is essential. The soul resolves past errors, redeems karma, and moves into service without ambition. And this period can be quite lengthy. It began for me September 24th of 2021. And I was living in seclusion and isolation. Certainly not the same kind of lifestyle I was living before. And you will go through that period, but it will go on another level where once you have been perfected, your mission will expand. You will begin to go out back into life, but with this new perspective, with this spiritual nobility that you have achieved. Spiritual nobility, when ambition is relinquished, the forces of destiny confer kingship of the soul, sovereignty over one's inner kingdom, accolade of spiritual nobility, true recognition of service to the great work. But the final stage involves surrender of personality. The soul becomes a passive but willing instrument of cosmic purpose. Insight into the entirety of one's life and the purpose of creation is achieved. Karma and limitation cease. The soul awaits the ultimate call, returning its distilled essence to the Ein force, to use Ein Sof, to use the Kabbalistic term, but the ultimate God force, source of all creation, the primordial source from which all emanates. And that is the ultimate goal. And that is this path of judgment. And that is this call of the trumpet that many are experiencing and hearing. But please, dear viewer, remember that your ego is the devil, that it has been put upon us, these external symbols, and that has been put in place for people to judge one another, to get caught up, to waste their energies in ego battles and such. But all of this is from the esoteric standpoint. All of these devils, all of these angels, all exist within your own consciousness. And it is a very personal walk to your path to the inner kingdom of heaven that I hope you achieve. And join with us here at the Umbanda Nu Elohim Ashram as we all continue on this journey together. Namaste, namaskaram.